Welcome to the Hydrohaven YT channel. Today we're diving into the treasure trove of gardening wisdom from the Amish community. These traditional methods have stood the test of time, often outperforming modern techniques while staying true to sustainable practices. Whether you're a beginner looking to start your first garden or a seasoned green thumb seeking to enhance your skills, these Amish-inspired gardening hacks will transform your approach to growing. Soil preparation and management. The 3-year soil rotation. Amish gardeners rarely use chemical fertilizers, instead focusing on natural soil building. They often follow a 3-year rotation: first year for heavy feeders like corn and tomatoes, second for moderate feeders such as beans and peas, and third for light feeders like root vegetables. This natural cycle allows soil to replenish nutrients gradually. Wood ash magic. Rather than purchasing lime to adjust soil pH, Amish gardeners collect wood ash throughout winter. Applied to garden beds in early spring, it adds potassium and helps neutralize acidic soil. Just remember, a little goes a long way. About 1 pound per 100 square feet is ideal. Coffee ground fertilizer. Amish communities waste nothing. Used coffee grounds become excellent fertilizer for acid-loving plants like blueberries, azaleas, and rhododendrons. The grounds also deter slugs and snails with their abrasive texture. Compost tea brewing. Steep a burlap sack of compost in a barrel of water for 7 to 10 days, stirring occasionally. The resulting tea becomes a potent natural fertilizer that can be applied directly to plants, providing immediate nutrient access without the wait time of traditional composting. Manure aging process. Fresh manure can burn plants, so Amish gardeners age manure for at least 6 months before application. This aging process allows beneficial microbes to break down harmful compounds while preserving nutrients. Planting techniques. Moon phase planting. Amish gardeners often plant according to lunar cycles. Above-ground crops like tomatoes and lettuce are planted during the waxing moon, while root crops like carrots and potatoes are planted during the waning moon. This ancient practice optimizes growth patterns aligned with natural gravitational forces. Three Sisters technique. Corn, beans, and squash planted together create a symbiotic relationship. Corn provides stalks for beans to climb, beans fix nitrogen in the soil, and squash's broad leaves shade out weeds while keeping soil moist. This companion planting method maximizes space and nutrition. Newspaper seed starters. Instead of purchasing plastic seed trays, Amish gardeners often create biodegradable pots from newspaper. Simply wrap strips around a small jar, fold the bottom, remove the jar, fill with soil, and plant your seeds. When seedlings are ready, plant the entire pot in the ground where the newspaper will decompose. Cold frame extension. Extend your growing season by months using Amish-style cold frames. These simple structures, essentially a box with a transparent lid, capture solar heat while protecting plants from frost. Traditional Amish frames use reclaimed windows as lids, creating miniature greenhouses. Succession planting calendar. Rather than planting everything at once, Amish gardeners create detailed calendars for succession planting. As one crop is harvested, another is immediately planted in its place, maximizing yield throughout the growing season. Natural pest control. Companion planting strategy. Plant aromatic herbs like basil, mint, and rosemary between vegetables to confuse and repel pests. Marigolds planted throughout the garden release compounds that deter nematodes and other soil pests while attracting beneficial insects. Diatomaceous earth barrier. This powder, made from fossilized aquatic organisms, creates microscopic cuts on insects' exoskeletons, causing them to dehydrate. Amish gardeners apply it around plants susceptible to slugs, snails, and other crawling pests. Homemade garlic spray. Crush several garlic cloves and steep in hot water overnight. Strain, add a tablespoon of mild soap as an emulsifier and spray on plants to repel aphids, cabbage worms, and other soft-bodied pests. Beneficial insect attraction. Rather than fighting nature, Amish gardeners work with it by creating habitats for beneficial insects. Small piles of stones provide shelter for predatory insects, while shallow water dishes support pollinators during dry periods. Sticky trap recipe. Mix equal parts honey and yellow food coloring, then spread on yellow boards positioned throughout the garden. This attracts and traps flying pests like whiteflies and fungus gnats without chemicals. Water conservation. Rain barrel systems. Amish gardens typically feature strategically placed rain barrels to capture roof runoff. Even a modest roof can collect hundreds of gallons during a single rainfall, providing free, chlorine-free water for gardens. Deep watering technique. Rather than frequent shallow watering, Amish gardeners water deeply but less often. This encourages roots to grow deeper into the soil, increasing drought resistance and overall plant health. Olus underground irrigation. These unglazed clay pots are buried in the garden with only their necks exposed. When filled with water, they slowly release moisture directly to plant roots through the porous clay, reducing evaporation by up to 70%. Morning watering routine. Amish gardeners almost always water in early morning, allowing plants to dry before evening and reducing fungal disease risk. This timing also minimizes evaporation loss compared to midday watering. Mulch layering system. Multiple layers of organic mulch, typically straw on the bottom and finer materials on top, create a moisture-preserving barrier that can reduce watering needs by up to 50% while suppressing weeds. These Amish gardening techniques represent generations of practical wisdom refined through observation and experience. By incorporating even a few of these methods into your own garden, you'll likely see improvements in both sustainability and productivity. If you've enjoyed these insights, please subscribe to the Hydrohaven YouTube channel for more traditional gardening wisdom adapted for modern gardens. Share this guide with fellow gardeners who might benefit from these time-tested techniques, and let us know in the comments which Amish hack you're most excited to try in your own garden. Remember, the most sustainable garden is one that works with nature rather than against it, a principle the Amish have embraced for centuries.